Grand Admiral Thrawn sat alone in his dimly lit quarters. The room was adorned with the few personal items he had allowed himself to accumulate over the years. A few pieces of art, some rare artifacts, and a holographic display of tactical simulations. It was a far cry from the opulence of his office on Coruscant, but Thrawn had always been a pragmatist. As he gazed out of the viewport at the stars streaking by, his thoughts turned to a time long past, a time when Commander Vanto had been at his side. Thrawn had never been one to form attachments to others, but Eli had been different. He was not just a subordinate, he was a friend, a confidant, and a student. Eli Vanto had been there with him from the very beginning of his Imperial Navy career. Thrawn had relied on him to navigate the treacherous waters of Imperial politics and to translate the nuances of human culture. And in return, he had offered Eli the chance to rise through the ranks and learn from a master tactician, even if it took him some time to realize it himself. Thrawn couldn't help but compare those days to his current situation. Exiled from the galaxy, it had all been the result of a reckless Jedi named Ezra Bridger. Thrawn had been swept up in that madness, and it had cost him everything. Not even his dear Chimera had survived unscathed in the chaos of that day. He had faced countless challenges in his exile, primarily logistical ones, but also hostile encounters with unknown alien species. But through it all, there was a nagging sense of emptiness that had been left by Eli's absence. Thrawn would never admit it openly, of course, but he couldn't deny that he missed those days, the intellectual sparring, and the quiet moments of reflection with Eli. In his mind's eye, Thrawn could see Eli's face with those intelligent brown eyes and the hint of a smile that always seemed to be lurking at the corners of his mouth. Eli had been a rare find, a keen intellect and an aptitude for strategic thinking that had endeared him to the Chiss, and Thrawn had relished the challenge of molding him into something more. Eli, Thrawn whispered to himself, his voice barely audible in the quiet of his quarters. Thrawn knew that Eli was in good hands with the Chiss ascendancy. It was a position he had silently prepared his protégé for during their time together. Eli Vanto had the potential to make significant contributions to the Chiss, and Thrawn had no doubt that he was fulfilling his duties there. Thrawn's fingers absent-mindedly traced the intricate patterns of his white uniform as he contemplated the present. He had a duty to fulfill, even in exile.